The Republicans are blaming the Democrats for violent crimes, but the Republicans are always blocking our efforts to try to fight this. Now, America is in the throes of a gun violence epidemic that is driving an increasingly high amount in violent crime. Now, the horrific acts of violence have permeated every part of our daily lives. We can't go to a concert, a nightclub, a mall, the gym, to schools to celebrate the Fourth of July parade or the Pride parade without fear of a shooting. You can't even go to an amusement park either. Just to throw that in there, there was a shooting at the Six Flags Great America in Gurney. So you can't even go to a place to have fun anymore where there isn't a shooting. And as soon as we begin to come to grips with one shooting, another fucking one happens. Um, there are four Democratic mayors in the red and purple states, and they can tell you that contrary to the narrative on the Republican side, gun violence is not confined to just Democratic states on America's coast. It is a national epidemic that requires immediate national action. And while mass shootings capture the headlines and flood our phones with push alerts, as mayors, they know that those are only a small fraction of the acts of gun violence that shatter our communities and every fucking day. They have attended the funerals and heard the stories of families destroyed because the wrong person had access to a deadly firearm. Now, with them being mayors, they are on the front lines. As mayors, they are on the front line of fighting back against violent crime, and as Democratic mayors, they are the driving force behind directing resources to support proven violence prevention programs and law enforcement. Now, this includes activating community-based interventions, gun buybacks, jobs, and outreach programs for at-risk youth. There's also an American Rescue Plan, called the ARPA fund, and it's funded to support and its funds go to support police departments in hiring, retaining, and training officers, and creating programs to address domestic violence. And they forge technological upgrades to ensure public safety. Um, but even with these smart interventions and investments, many of us are facing uphill battles thanks to the very people who like to blame the Democratic people for the violence. Our state Republican governors and legislators um, are trying their hands as we attempt to curb the gun violence and keep the city safe, even while they blame the Democrats for the crimes in the communities. They are doing this by repeating life-saving gun safety laws and actively passing legislation that puts communities and officers in danger by flooding the streets with guns. Now, last year, Arizona Governor the douchebag Doug Ducey signed a legislation to prohibit police and sheriffs from enforcing the federal gun laws. Now, a Texas governor named Greg Abbott, who's another dumbass, helped pass pro-gun legislation like open carry, campus carry, and permit training less carry. As a result, both the numbers of murders and the percentages of homicides committed with guns increased and went up. Of the of the 1,100 of the 1,187 murders that were committed back in 2014, 63% were committed by the use of firearms. By 2020, this increased to 80%. Texans felt the impact of the gun crisis when 19 children recently lost their lives in the Uvalde school shooting. And now in March, Ohio's Republican-controlled state house rolled back gun laws when he signed when he signed a bill allowing all people from Ohio aged 21 and older to carry a gun without permit and training or background check. Gun deaths in Ohio were already on the rise anyway, with deaths from firearms back in 2021 at an all-time high. The impacts are already being felt due to the state's new permitless carry law, and law enforcement in Youngstown had recently released 10 people without charge when they could have charged with a gun crime before the law took effect. And it isn't just Democratic mayors who are or the Republican governors are ignoring, but it's law enforcement. Common sense gun laws are supported by the law enforcement as well, including the International Association of Chiefs of Police and the Fraternal Order of Police. Law enforcement have publicly opposed Republican-led gun bills in at least 7 different states, including bills allowing permitless carry, local enforcement of federal gun laws, and sanctuary bills. And we're not fucking giving up, because study after study has found that community-driven gun violence intervention programs can be very effective, and we are deploying them in our cities to try to prevent violence before it even occurs. In Houston, the mayor and city council are investing $53 million in the One Safe Houston program to develop new technology to find leads in gun violence cases. seize what we call ghost guns, and target offenders repeatedly committing firearm-related crimes, in addition to police overtime. Now in Tucson, the general fund dollars are being deployed to launch an innovative community safety, health, and wellness program, and $13.3 million in ARPA funds are designed to support community partner grants in this area. Now in Cleveland, the Division of Police, using the patrol section, and the Bureau of Traffic and the Gang Impact Unit conducted something that they call Operation Stop, and it's to their mission is to stop planned street takeovers using actionable information regarding illegal street raiding to keep streets safe. The program resulted in the confiscation of illegal firearms on the East Coast. Richmond, Virginia developed a framework that brings together community-based programs targeted at the city's most at-risk youth, their families, and communities in an effort to reduce the gun violence. By utilizing violence prevention programs and holistic solutions, we can help mitigate crime, but that would never be enough. The truck driver of the violent crime is still out there, and despite Uvalde, Highland Park, and the tragic shootings that we see each week in our communities, the Republican leaders of our states are trying to make guns even more accessible. By weakening our gun laws, Republican state leaders are exacerbating the gun violence epidemic, making our communities less safe and instilling paralyzing fear in the process. Now, the mayors are stepping up to fight back and take action, but we need our counterparts. We need the counterparts to stop making things fucking worse. Now, if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.